The big differentiator in my eyes is scale. There is no other country that has this level of young talent and so diversified, not just tech, but across industries.
Correct.
Very hard to get, and so well balanced as a country, and the kind of social economic fabric that we have is very unique. Very, very unique, just not the region, Southeast Asia region, but also globally if you really look at it.
Sure.
And the aspiration is very different for the young talent here. So the spirit of going and achieving is much higher when you compare to the talent across any part of the world. The heart of it is value creation. Whether it was seen as a back office, whether it was seen as a cost as a dimension, whether it is seen as today more transformational engines or value organizations, the core of all this is value. If we don't create value, there is no identity. If I were known GCCs a decade back, I would have started in GCCs. Or if I have known it 2 decades back, I would have loved to start there. I think it's a place where you can build your career, and I say that you can build a career everywhere, but the beauty of working in a GCC is you have the business along with you, which is not very true when you start building careers in other companies. You might get opportunities occasionally, but the distance to the business is slightly much different.
Yeah.
But in GCC, you are part of the business. You are the business.
Hi Chakri, thanks so much for speaking with us today. I wanted to start by asking you a little bit about your journey and how you got into the GCC space in the first place.
Thank you, Ramako, for inviting me for this conversation today. A little bit of a story. I was into technology for 20 plus years. Post-masters, I started in SAP, predominantly doing consulting across various organizations. And as part of the journey has been to various countries, worked for many customers. And while I was working for this particular customer called me Johnson Nutrition in US, that was the time Reckitt, which is into consumer products, acquired this organization in 2016. It was a massive deal, $16 billion deal. And as part of that transition, Reckitt decided to build the Global Capability Center in India. And we as a family back then were very keen to relocate to India. And it just worked. And I felt like, say, getting back to India, still having the same continuity of working for the business that I am working for the last 6-7 years in US. So I found like, say, there is a resonance, there is a continuity, just a change of location. So it all worked and said, okay, I'll go back to India and being the first few people to join the place and work with my leader back then and who's my current boss too. And while we together built the place, set up the place, he went back to US, I continued to be here. That's how I got into the GCCs world, or whatever we call captive. Or
yeah. And you come from a business family, an entrepreneurial family. What got you interested in technology in the first place, Chakri?
It's true. I come from an entrepreneurial family, business family for generations. But it is not true that, like, say, I'm glued to technology. I think it is just more my family, or today more my dad, to tell me, like, say, or wanting his sons not to be part of the business. Primarily because, like, say, he sees the challenges that are there in business are far much bigger and needs much more resilience than working in a corporate. And the corporate gives better comfort. At the same time, you could also create a mark of yourself, but in a much more structured and organized setting. And hence, he always encouraged us to study well, do well, and go out of the family business and create a niche for ourselves. But it worked for me. And we're three brothers. I'm the eldest. My younger brother lives in US. The youngest one, he did his master's in UK. He came back to India and he now lives with my dad and family, and he's part of the family business. So he's not fully successful, but partially, but it worked for me and I am happy for that. And I don't want to say that I'll never go back to the business. There is an element of how I think, and maybe that's the reason there's an entrepreneurial mindset in everything that I do. And hence, I would never say no. Maybe it might happen in the future.
Yeah, never say never, like this.
Yeah.
Now, coming back to GCCs, Chakri, for a long time they were looked at as cost centers or back offices. Now that narrative has really changed. It's being looked at as innovation hubs. How do you see this evolution? If you could just kind of give us your perspective.
The heart of it is value creation. Whether it was seen as a back office, whether it was seen as a cost as a dimension, whether it is seen as today more transformational engines or value organizations, the core of all this is value. If we don't create value, there is no identity. Hence, it is just the way India has evolved over the last few decades post-independence, has really, and post-liberalization, post-economic independence and all that. I think it is just that journey that led us into initially being seen as a place to outsource technology to today is a place where we innovate. So it is just the natural journey, and the world has started accepting to see India and the talent within India very differently from what it was a couple of decades ago. And that is the genesis for this growth that we see today as part of this GCCs, because these are truly value drivers.
And is that what you think is the key differentiator, Chakri? The fact that India sort of emerged as this preferred destination or hub, if you will, as a GCC, right? Or as a talent hub for these big global companies. What is the real kind of differentiator in your eyes?
The big differentiator in my eyes is scale. There is no other country that has this level of young talent and so diversified, not just tech, but across industries.
Correct.
Very hard to get, and so well balanced as a country, and the kind of social economic fabric that we have is very unique, very, very unique, just not the region, Southeast Asia region, but also globally if you really look at it.
Sure.
And the aspiration is very different for the young talent here. So the spirit of going and achieving is much higher when you compare to the talent across any part of the world.
Sure.
It may not reflect in sport as a thing, but in general, very aspiring young minds, bright minds, the academia, the kind of institutes that we have, the kind of talent that is coming out of these colleges is phenomenal. It's phenomenal.
And I think what also kind of puts us at an advantage is the fact that we are a very young population compared to the rest of the globe, right?
Yes. We have the largest young population, and that is really going to grow. And the Gen Zs and of course the Gen Alphas, by the time when they come into the technology or when they come into the work life, the world will be much different with this emerging AI.
And this is a generation that's growing up with technology and AI.
With technology and AI. And so we might see a much, much better India and a modern India in the next 1 or 2 decades.
Yeah. And Chakri, coming back to your center, if you could kind of highlight some key examples where your center is driving innovation and value globally.
Sure. When I talk about innovation, it need not always be about something to create new. It is also about how we do things. We can innovate in doing things.
Absolutely.
I think I would go with that, because most of the times when you set up the place, you need to build an identity. There is a team that is sitting outside in Hyderabad. So you need to create an identity and brand for that team. So what we looked at initially was to pick up large-scale transformation. This was in year 1. And the beauty of it is like, so we were able to do that because we brought in the right talent, people who had deep technology experience, worked across the countries, geographies, across industries. And hence we were able to get the talent on board onto a burning and a running train and still lead digital transformation from year one. So while we are doing that, we got much closer to the business. You can't innovate without actually understanding the business.
Yeah.
Generally, when you do a GCC setup, it takes generally a few years to build the talent, get closer to the business. But we were able to crack that very initially. We got the right people who can get to business conversations from day one. And so the proximity to the business and business partnering was there. And that led to innovation in how we delivered with agility in some of our digital transformations. So the biggest one that I would say is we recently went live with S/4HANA Go Live for one part of our business, nutrition business, globally in 11 months, record time.
Wow.
Globally. And in that, as part of the program, we did a lot of first innovations. Like say, we brought in AI, Gen AI. We used it for code remediation. We reduced our efforts by 30%. We also brought in a lot of automation for data validation. So there are a lot of things that we do.
And the India Center played a key role in.
There's no other resource outside India. Everything is in India.
Wow.
We delivered globally. Every single resource was in India, Hyderabad office.
Amazing.
So it was an amazing story that we had, and but it's just about being innovative in how we do things. But if we really talk about what did we really did first, the first chatbot that we built for Reckitt was in 2019.
Okay.
The first HR chatbot we built for the organization was 2019 from the hub. We brought in AI in 2020 to screen profiles for reducing the effort in talent acquisition. We looked at AI tools back then. And then today, within the organization, we have teams that focus on building AI solutions. And we have massive platform called Genesis.
Okay.
And we're able to do a lot of unlocking in marketing and developing digital content. Today, we could get content developed in hours, which used to take few weeks. And that would have not been possible if we have not had a great data foundation. So the last few years, we invested a lot of effort and money and time in building an enterprise data lake. There were multiple data lakes around the organization. We consolidated it, created a baseline, and we improved our data journey. And we got to a maturity where we can now launch AI solutions across functions, just not marketing. The many examples that I can quote. We're recently looking at an opportunity how we can improve our execution excellence in the market, commercial market, by actually getting better visibility to our display. So the way we display the products in the market, and if you're not displaying them properly.
And this is again globally as well as in India.
Everything is global. And the kind of work that we're doing in influencing, social media influencing, the work that we're doing in China and Thailand, we actually got social influencers developing multiple videos on a daily basis for our product selling.
Okay.
So we have taken really AI to almost everything in marketing, and but we're also looking at R&D, which is another area where we want to really unlock the power of AI.
Sure.
Some of the other firsts that we did in the hub is we actually set up a manufacturing test lab. So we have a test lab where you can actually reproduce what the production line can do.
Okay.
And we can also have an interaction with the factory, both audio as well as video real time.
Okay.
And you can lift the test results into a cloud.
Okay.
That was what we did it in 2020. This test lab setup for manufacturing.
Interesting.
We did it in 2020. And now we are expanding that in our Hull factory, which is our mother factory. But there's also a lot of learning that we take from industry. Like we have partnered with T-Hub on learning about sustainability. In our office today, We don't have any plastic. Zero plastic in any form or shape. We thought about sustainability very creatively in 2019, 2018. That we were operating in a commercial space, which means it's very difficult for us to be carbon neutral.
Absolutely.
But we came out with the thinking, if we can generate solar in our factories and we can offset the power in those places, we can become net neutral, carbon net neutral. So we went to one of our factories in Mysore. We gave this idea to the factory, and we asked them, like, say, why don't you put up a solar panel and generate power? You consume it, but we write off our energy savings. They liked the idea, and they went on to solar. And today, globally in Reckitt, every factory almost runs on solar power in some form or shape.
Okay.
So it is not always necessarily a tangible idea needs to come in. At times, you also can provide a creative thinking. So that is what is all about the hub today.
Yeah.
Where ideas really take shape.
Sure. Chakri, just going back to AI for a bit, obviously there's so much noise out there, and you all have been early kind of movers in the space, right? So on a personal note, when it comes to AI, what is the one thing that excites you the most, and what is the one thing that worries you the most?
One thing that excites me the most is it is proven very clearly that you can't eliminate the human in the loop. So which is really good. So that means, like, say, AI is here to augment, AI is here to act as a catalyst, which means, like, say, it is all helping elevate human intelligence. It is trying to give us space to do better things, use our knowledge for creating something bigger.
Sure.
And hence, I'm not really worried about it being a risk for the jobs or anything. It can actually create better jobs.
Yeah. So you see roles changing, evolving, but not necessarily human roles becoming completely redundant.
We might see, like, say, it might initially start up looking like, say, hey, it might overtake some of the roles. It can replace some of the roles.
Sure.
But those roles may not be necessarily the ones. Maybe we'll create new roles.
Correct.
So the talent is expected to work on the new needs of the organization.
Right.
Because there are certain tools that are taking care of the mundane routine stuff.
Correct. Yeah.
So you're unlocking the talent and using the potential of the talent for
in a
better
way. In a better way. Okay. I know, Chakri, that you're very passionate about giving back. If you could, kind of share your views on that a little bit.
My way of looking at it is, like, say, each one of us will have a story, and that story is strongly supported with an ecosystem where they have the true belonging. I think it is all about giving back to that ecosystem. It need not be big. It can be a small place next to your house. It could be just your own family. It could be something that is related to your personal day-to-day help that you get. Doesn't need to be anything big. It is just that ecosystem makes you feel that you belong there. You need to give it back to the society, give it back to the place. And in any form you can do, whether it is supporting the cause for that place or supporting in education or medical or infrastructure. We need to build thriving ecosystems, and that is what we do at GCCs too. We build a thriving ecosystem where talent feel comfortable, safe, and come and truly unlock their capability and potential. That is what we need to do. We constantly need to go back to the roots to give them back, so that you constantly give the opportunity for others to unlock potential. We're still little far to be called as a developed country. There is a lot of we are too far to say the government has to do many things by design, but it doesn't happen. So when you could do it when the government is not there, nothing better than that, I would say.
Sure. And if I were to ask you about your plans to kind of strengthen or scale talent to accelerate innovation from the India Center? What does that look like?
We tried multiple models in the organization about how to unlock value through innovation. Okay, we tried to partner with startups. We tried to go all out into the California Bay Area and tried to do some collaboration with some startups. This is not an easy one to crack. So the best way to do, which is what we are trying to do now, is we are trying to focus on the mindset. Helping talent understand that innovation can happen anywhere. You can innovate in everything that you do, and creating that mindset of innovation is what we are doing. And the journey has started. What we mean by that is we have created a chapter for innovation wherein we want to form a cohort, and we already formed the cohort. What this cohort does is trying to spot ideas. We do hackathons, we do variety of catch-ups to identify a variety of ideation, and we distill that. And we distill that to take it to a business case.
Sure.
And we then go it to the business leaders to demonstrate what that idea is, and then we do an incubation, then we do a little bit of pilot, and then we scale it. So we have created a framework, and we have created a lot of enthusiasm. We found a lot of enthusiasm in the talent on the floor who wants to come and contribute in this. The reason for that is they are seeing the proximity to the business. The business is able to appreciate. They are able to see what these people are bringing in and out of the box thinking.
Sure.
How to marry technology and business. So that integration, that partnership with that constant curiosity of bringing in that outside in perspective is all part of innovation.
Anything interesting that germinated through this process and eventually led to like a solution?
Yeah. There are many, not just one. So a lot of automation work that we do in Reckitt is coming out from India.
Okay.
So the entire robotic process automation capability was built in Hyderabad, and we have today more than 200 plus bots in the company.
Wow.
So, and the entire intelligence that we have built around mining our own processes through our process mining tool is from India.
Wow.
We mine our data and we develop a lot of insights, and that's happening from India for last 4 years. And if you look at, like, say, some of the recent ones I can call out is there was this one chap from supply, Nitesh, who brought up a very unique thinking of providing an end-to-end visibility across the supply chain.
Okay.
So, which is today very fragmented. If you want to have a visibility of when you really get into recall, you want to know all the way what's the finished product batch that went to the consumer all the way up to the raw material.
Correct.
That's a very lengthy supply chain, which is very fragmented, and you can find pockets of visibility. But if you really have one solution that can bring in all the visibility that you need across the supply chain, it would be much, much easier when you really get into a risk of recall.
Sure.
And that was actually came out as an idea. A very first idea from supply is at this level.
How interesting.
Wherein, why can't we create one single system? Because today quality has their own end-to-end tracking and traceability.
Sure.
Procurement has its own traceability. Supply has its own traceability.
Correct.
R&D has its own traceability. If you bring all these together and create an end-to-end traceability.
Yeah.
So it's a brilliant thought. Not easy to do, but a brilliant starting point, because we can see so many use cases that can be resolved, and we can react and respond better.
Yeah. And Chakri, lastly, for young people who, whether they are in tech or otherwise, interested in sort of exploring the GCC space or sort of are thinking of getting into it, what would you say to them?
Again, if I were known GCCs a decade back, I would have started in GCCs. Or if I have known it 2 decades back, I would have loved to start there. I think it's a place where you can build your career. And I say that you can build a career everywhere. But the beauty of working in a GCC is you have the business along with you, which is not very true when you start building careers in other companies. You might get opportunities occasionally, but the distance to the business is slightly much different.
Yeah.
But in GCC, you are part of the business. You are the business.
And it's a much larger playground.
It's much,
right?
And you can build careers. And what I say many of the people is, you have many more opportunities to develop your career rather than a traditional route in a GCC. You can jump into business, play a business role, come back to tech, do some service, do some GBS, and many things that you can play, which if you go into a technology firm or a business firm, you join the business in a company, you might play a certain role. But if you start in a GCC, you can move across multiple domains, functions, and experience a variety of roles within the organization.
And it's not always restricted to tech, obviously.
Definitely not. Definitely. And that is the beauty of the GCCs today. I think every GCC is giving talent the opportunity to navigate, and what we call that as Figly careers.
Yeah.
And most of the times what we are looking for a fungible talent, a talent that is more willing to move across. And at the end of the day,
more adaptive.
My way of looking at it is, I think my boss tells this, Mali, I can repeat and I also echo this. The aim is like, say, can we get people in our GCC to be the next CIO of the company or the next CEO of the company? That is the thought that we have.
Right.
We want to build global leaders, the next set of global leaders, the next set of CIOs and CEOs of these organizations. And we have every possible potential to do that.
Wonderful. Chakri, it's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you here today. Thank you again for taking the time out.
Thank you, Ramarko. Thank you for your time.